Thank you for having me.
No problem. I appreciate you stopping by, having a quick conversation with me. Everybody is LaIndia St. Laurent.
Of course.
I'm a very big fan of you. Just seeing you on the floor, and also the interviews you do and a lot of stuff like that.
Thank
you. I want to get to know you a little bit more.
Okay.
When did you get started in ballroom?
Well, I didn't start mainstream. Well, I didn't start mainstream until like 2017.
Okay.
And I only say that is because I feel like that's when I took it serious. I was in and out of ballroom since 2013, but I originally started in the Kiki scene.
Right. Okay. And what attracted you to the Kiki scene first?
Well, actually, Tamara Williams, which is Tamara Lavin now. I believe before she was Tamara Prodigy.
Okay.
Okay. Me and her met, and we met like at a place for, with other people that are from trans experience, and we had like talked about different things that we liked, and she she told me that she was in ballroom and stuff like that, and I was like, oh, wait a minute, so she told me that she wanted to bring me to a house, on like Kiki scene or whatever Kiki scene, and she brought me to Unbothered.
And it pretty much just went on.
Yeah, it went on from there. Like I always have love for the Kiki house that was in the Unbothered because, it kept me feeling young. It kept me open to like branching off into different things that I liked and not being afraid of, just being myself. Like, it was like a brand new life for me, I would kind of say, because before I met her, like, even though I always knew about ballroom, I really wasn't into the LGBT community. I was more into the heterosexual community, if you get what I'm saying. Like, I was more of my way of life. And by me coming to the scene opened me up to understanding more about who I am and also, enjoying what I love, which is entertainment.
So, as starting out by the Kiki scene, now you're in the mainstream scene.
Mm-hmm.
What are the main differences between the two?
Well, with the Kiki scene, like, I always felt like it was fun, but so lack of better words, I feel like my appetite wasn't full enough. And when I went to my first ball, the coldest winter ever, but that was my first ball I went to. It was like a movie to me. And I was like, this is it. This is where I'm supposed to be. I felt like I belonged here. Without anybody saying it to me, without anything, it felt like, this is it. This is where I'm supposed to be at. And I feel like if I would have went to any other ball besides that ball, like, anything right like after, or, I probably wouldn't have had the same type of feeling. But being the fact that when I got there, I seen everybody that I've been looking at on YouTube forever, and they gave me the same things that they give on YouTube. Like, so it was just, everything was just so like a movie. Like, from Kelly to Sanaya to Naomi to, to the whole big thing with Stewart, like him going, like, Ashley, everybody gave me everything that I've always seen them do. So it was just like, this is my spot. This is where I want to be. The energy, the fire, all that. That's what it was. The Kiki scene for me, it felt more like, no disrespect, but it felt kind of like I was going to like an after school program. But it wasn't, like, I don't mean it. It's because, like I was a little older I was like the same age as the ones that were the mothers and the fathers and stuff like that, So I was like more of that level-headed, even though I wasn't a mother into any of the children then, but I was already a grown woman, so I had to, my views were different from their views. So what they thought was entertaining, it wasn't really entertaining to me. You get what I'm saying?
I understand that because, just understanding the Kiki scene, I think that's probably what it was originally created for, right?
Right.
For LGBT youth to have something.
You're right, and I picked up on that like really quick, and I was like, this is nice, but this is not really, you know.
Yeah, so basically, like the Kiki scene was like the kid scene, and the mainstream was like the adult scene.
Yes, yes. But the reason why I didn't mind staying in the Kiki scene, didn't mind staying, well, more like staying in the house that I was in, is because, like I said, they kept me feeling youthful, you know, and it also helped me gain more confidence in the craft that I loved it the most, which was performance at the time. I mean, I'm not the best at it, but I really enjoy it. Like, that's like my top favorite category amongst other categories that I love. So it just made it helped like feed me more confidence in that specific skill.
Yeah. So you started off walking performance.
They originally had me up for realness.
And then you just wanted. What made you want to start ballroom?
That's all I wanted to do. That was all I wanted to do because I felt like with realness, like I just explained to you, like my transition, my life growing in my transition was mainly around the heterosexual community. So I didn't think of my realness being a category. I thought that's just how I lived. And ballroom was all up. So when I look at ballroom, I think about you just being whoever you wanted to be, like Fantasyland, like, you know, Hollywood, like just, you know, just being that special you know, your alter ego. And I was like, well, how do I be my alter ego and that's myself at the same time, like, you know.
Right.
So I didn't find the fun in that, so I went straight to performance.
That is interesting that you say that. So describe from your perspective somebody that walks it, because I didn't even, that's something I learned the other day, that you walk performance, I always see you walk realness.
Yeah.
So help describe femme queen realness for anybody who's not familiar with it or is just maybe not into that category. What is femme queen realness to you, and how do you be competitive to win?
Okay, so femme queen realness, the history behind that is just was a category to show, you know, you being undetectable in normal society as you just looking like an everyday woman, or you know whatever, you know, standard of a woman. Like, you know, they have pretty girl realness, they have, you know, executive realness, they have, like, you know, like the same type of category, but it's like different type of women basically. And as far as like the competitiveness to winning, as far as like the balls that I've won, it was more, anytime I've ever walked, I just went and just had fun. Because when it came to realness, I didn't really see what was the competition in that. You know, I just felt like, this is me, period. You know, so I just was like, you know, I'm just gonna go have fun and, you know, still be seen and let people know who I am, because I always thought of the bigger picture.
So realness was something that kind of like, you feel like you was just getting your feet wet in ballrooms?
Yeah, and also just like being seen, like kind of like, yeah, just letting the world know who I am, you know, and like, okay, like I'm doing this, but I'm really thinking about doing this, you know, like every time I go to a ball, I always look at how the businesses ran. I always looked about like the lights, the attraction, how they run the ball, like how the categories go and things like that. You know, because I always thought of more of a business standpoint of it. That's always been in the back of my head. So I was like, you know, instead of me just standing around and things like that, you know, like I wanted to make my own name for myself.
Right. Yeah. So have you ever thrown your own ball?
No, I haven't. I don't feel like I'm ready for that. And I don't think I'm ready for that yet, just because of the fact that I feel like I do more research in it. But if I was like doing something with someone with it, that'd be awesome. Because I have like this head got so many ideas, it's not even funny, right. You know. So,
okay. Mm-hmm. So going back to the Kiki scene and the mainstream scene, mm-hmm. Did you ever have to like pick between which one you wanted to choose, or was it just like a natural progression?
Once I got into the house in St. Laurent, it was like, that's it.
Right.
You know, and it wasn't like, all right, bye. You know, it wasn't given that, like, you know, my Kiki house at the time, they was like a lot of people was doing different things. You know, it was like in the verge of closing soon, so it was like, you know, I didn't feel like, you know, I didn't leave them, you know, as like the house closed or whatever, and I just continued on with, you know, mainstream with Saint Laurent.
And so like, okay, so you started out walking realness. Did you have any like inspirations of realness, or was it just mainly like you said, like through your?
It was really just enjoyment. Like I can't really say anybody I really looked up to in realness, and it's no shade. It's just because that wasn't the category I never, you know, really was into like that. But what I would say is that Magnum, I believe he's maybe a 007 now. I'm not sure. However, he is an awesome man because when I came into the house of Saint Laurent, he asked me what I wanted to do. And I told him that I wanted to travel. I wanted to get my name out there. And I said I want to at least win a few of the years. And he got me very close to my goal. Like, he made sure that I was at balls that, you know, was of the year worthy. You know, he introduced me to a lot of people, like, this to get people to become, not comfortable, but, like, get to know who I am. Like, yeah, get familiar with me and things like that. So, like, I will always have respect and love for him because, you know, he asked me what I wanted, and I told him what I wanted, and he made sure that I was able to reach those goals.
That's dope. So, what about like performance? Were there any people who made you like inspired you to want to dance and?
Inspired me to want to dance. Okay, so it was actually I have three favorite femme performers, and which was Mika, Prodigy, Mariah, Scorpiana, and Deja. You know, Deja La Perla. And that was because I thought they, yes, you know, Stephen Peace, auntie. Because they were very unique, and like their performance spoke volume. Like, even though Mariah, she also did like runway, like, you know, European runway, that was like her thing, you know. But her stories in her hands was crazy, you know. Deja's performance was captivating, you know. I felt like all the time I seen Mika perform, it always gave me like she was some kind of like superhero, like, you know, like lady superhero, like, you know. So that's what got me captivated to performance. And of course, you know, the Leonis and things like, you know, not the Leonis, but, you know, Leomi, and, you know, like the list goes on. But those are like the main three that really got me really into wanting to Vogue and stuff.
Okay. So.
What inspired me to want to Vogue, yes.
Where did the interviews come into play at?
Okay, so doing research, because I've been doing research on ballroom since forever. Like, even though I was, like I said, I was mainly in the heterosexual community, I always looked, you know, once I found out what ballroom was, because my father, which is definitely, he told me about ballroom. He introduced it to me. Like, we watched Paris is Burning, obviously see him, and Octavia, which ended up being my mother later on down the line, you know. So that was like, you know, I always knew about it. So I was there like research on this stuff, and I would watch Luna shows, Vicky Gotti shows. I was watching Kelly, you know, Kelly, like her life, even though she wasn't really interviewing people. Like, she did interviews, but not like that, but just her just talking about, she was like, to me, I look at her as like the Wendy Williams of ballroom, you know. So I was just like really intrigued by that, and I was like, you know, like, I would love to do things like that. Like, I like doing things like that. I can talk to anybody. I'm not afraid to speak to anybody. I'm not afraid to talk about any issue that's going on, you know. But I was like, you know, I don't want to be like this person. I want to be like that person. So I just kind of like made up my own, you know, my own way of like my own type of show. Like, sometimes I interview people. Then the thing is that when I interview people, all the people that I interview were people that have and still is, you know, doing something on the outside as far as in you know, the industry. Because the main thing is like I'm merging the two together, like merging Hollywood and ballroom together, you know, merging there's the LGBT community, and then there's the ballroom community, and I want to mend that. I want to mend the heterosexual community and the LGBT community together. I want it to be an all melting pot, because a lot of us have talents that we do that we're awesome and amazing at, and people don't get to see that because they're either just focused on the hype of what a transsexual is, or like a lot of times we have like talented hip hop artists and people that sing and everything, but they'd be like, oh, I'm a transgender rapper, or I'm a gay rapper, or things like that, and it messes up the message what they're trying to get across. So my motto is, look at me for what I do, not for who I screw. So so that's what I'm doing. Is I like the people that I interview and things like that. I focus more, like I talk about some of their their ballroom. Some people have a little background in their ballroom, but I mainly bring out what's your craft. What is it that you really do? You know what I'm saying? Whether it's fashion, whether it's singing, rapping, fashion, hair, whatever like I want to see that. If you could cook, make a dish. You know what I'm saying? Like, because of the fact that we are very talented people. Like, I be sitting in balls and I be like, well, she would sell great. She would do great with selling perfume. She'd be great, like as a video vixen, or like just
anything.
Like I see ballroom and where it's evolving to. I've been saw that, so I want to be. I want to be because I'm in it. Okay, so all you other ones, move over. Make a little room for me. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm coming. And I want to be a part of that. I'm to be a part of the movement of our future. We have a lot of stars that need to be respected about with their craft. I feel like if they was to be respected the way these Hollywood people been respected, it'd be a lot of money in ballroom. And I think it's important that we stick to the bigger picture and seeing that this is more than just a ball now. It's a new the people that just say, oh, they just ballroom girls, all they live by just ballroom. Okay, now you can get the residuals for it. You know what I'm saying?
It's truly a culture.
Yes, it's very truly a culture, and like I believe in that. I'm a part of that, and that's just what it is.
That's what's up. Mm-hmm. So I watched one of your most recent videos called Dear Ballroom.
Yeah.
And in that video you got very emotional.
Yeah.
Talking about just loss in the community.
Yeah.
So that's something that we all deal with, whether we know the person personally or not. When you get to a certain age, you're just gonna start seeing people pass away. Mm-hmm. So how do you deal with, just the way life turns, also with the other issues that affect the LGBT community that bring on unpredictable death? How do you deal with that mourning, and how do you deal with that loss? How do you keep your head on straight?
Well, it's like I'm more differently for different situations, that comes with death, Mm-hmm. But around that time, I was hurt with Tony, because I gathered Tony because of the fact that I just saw him in Atlanta. Mm-hmm. And when I saw him, he hugged me real tight, and I was just because it ain't we was girlfriends, but anytime we see each other, it was a good interaction. But for him to hug me so hard like that, it kind of made me all right, well, hey, but looking back out, was that a signal that something was going to happen? You get what I'm saying? And then, I found out too about Mario. Now, Mario Icon, he was unbothered at the time. We were unbothered together. And, he was a sweet person, but he was bullied. He was bullied, and he was, turned away from his own community. And even till right now, it kind of makes me feel emotional about it a little bit, because it was just you don't understand what that does to people. We already deal with a lot of negativity You know, like just overall, you know what I'm saying? Like just you don't know, like not saying that happens to me, but you don't know what I went through today even getting here. You don't know, like you know what I'm saying? Like we go through so much every day, and just for our own community to turn our back on us the way that I felt like they turned on him, it was just devastating to me. So and to find out how he passed, how they both passed, so it like affected me even more. So it hit me like a lot of different ways, you know? Yeah.
So, I'm sorry to hear that, and I hope you deal with those losses, the best that any of us can deal with it.
Right.
Moving forward, like, what do you think is something that we can do personally that can prevent that from happening again?
Well, I do think that we need to be a little more transparent and say what we mean and be what we say.
Okay.
If you are there for the community, be there for the community. Don't just say it because that's going to get you likes and views and things like that. If you really are about that life, be about that life. You understand what I'm saying? Like, I wouldn't say that I'm a trans advocate. You know, like, I would say that, I am a trans woman, and I don't take anything away from me being who I am. But I feel like where I'm going in my life, I feel like that shouldn't have to matter. It's there, of course, because that's who I am. I am a black, Latino, trans woman. Yes, I am. But that does not take away from the fact that I'm a journalist. That does not take away from the fact that I'm a performer, I'm an actor, I'm just that third. It does not take any away of any of that. So that's not my main focus. We have Jen and Mock and Laverne Cox and all that for that. You understand what I'm saying? So, you get what I'm saying? So, I'm not going to sit here and act like I'm a trans advocate and I'm not. Even though I have respect and love for my community. You get what I mean? So that's basically an example of say what you mean and mean what you say.
Yeah. So you just want to be authentic.
Yes.
Yeah.
And like we do need a lot more support systems. As far as I believe Tabitha, because I had interviewed her recently and she was talking about some of the groups that she had going on. Like she's definitely a person to contact as far as like receiving help. Like as far as you have like issues with drugs or mental disabilities or whatever the case may be, like she's definitely a great person to contact because she holds classes for that and she has a lot of connections to that. So, as anybody, the people that's viewing this, make sure you tap into Tabitha because, Tabitha Gonzalez, I believe that's her name on Facebook, Tabitha Revlon, like she's really in that. Her and the Andy. Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So, moving forward, I would just like to thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me.
And I have one last question.
Okay.
Describe yourself in 5 words or less.
I am courageous, fearless, hilarious, and I can be breathtaking, and I am alluring.
Ladies and gentlemen, LaIndia, St. Laurent.
Of course.